So recently, when I was having, sodas? Yeah, let's go with that. When I was having sodas with my friends, I told them, you know what we need? Good bike infrastructure. But then, instead of being worshipped for my intelligence, someone actually responded. They said, okay, what counts as good bike infrastructure? And I realized that I had no idea what a good answer was. This is obviously a problem because there's tons of studies out there which show us that we need to work to replace more of our car travel with bicycle and public transit. Like this one, which shows how a bike commute can help you save on your long-term health costs, or this one, which shows how property values go up when houses are located closer to bike paths. Or even just a quick internet search, which shows you how much lower the emissions of travel by bike or public transit is when compared with cars. So I knew that I needed to find an answer to this question. After loads of research, I finally arrived at this philosophy. Good bike infrastructure emphasizes safety, destination, and accommodations. Hi, I'm Nathan, someone who is gaga for bikes, and this is Save Money, Save the Planet. First and foremost, bike infrastructure needs to be safe. This is important because everyone, teenagers, all the way up to senior citizens, enjoys, not being dead. That's right, they enjoy not being dead. I don't know why I can't remember that one. But how can we quantify that? Well, Streets Blog USA has a great analysis of data put out by ProPublica, which shows the chances of surviving being hit by a car which is going different speeds. If the car is going 20 miles per hour, then almost 90% of people will survive regardless of age. At 30 miles per hour, this becomes more of a toss-up for senior citizens. And at 40 miles per hour, it is pretty much a coin flip for anyone, regardless of age. So we need to either build our streets in a way that keeps cars close to 20 miles per hour, or we need to provide protection for bike lanes so that the car's speed doesn't matter for cyclists. Now, I'm sure many of you know a friend who rides everywhere, like they're in the frickin' Tour de France or something, and they'll try to claim that roads are safe as is. But honestly, they're lying. Because I bet they wouldn't let their 8-year-old kid or 70-year-old grandma use the bike lanes that they claim are so safe. Luckily, there's plenty of options to make roads safe. For instance, why do you think that these sharrows are luring cyclists to their death, while these sharrows are actively saving lives? Oh, actually, let me zoom out. See, the ones on the right are on a street that is built to keep car speeds down. There's a speed bump which is designed for 20 mile per hour or slower traffic, and this extra curb at the intersection helps narrow the road in a way that forces cars to slow down. Whereas the other set of sharrows are on a stretch of road where the speed limit is 35 miles per hour, and the road is straight and wide enough that cars regularly drive over 40. If you want to know more about how road design can control car speed, then check out this video by Not Just Bikes. Actually, let's be honest. Anyone who watches my channel already watches NJB. So, I guess just remember how awesome his video was? Yeah, that's what's happening here. Now, obviously many car drivers would just pitch a fit if we force them to always drive around at 20 miles per hour. So city planners have come up with some great solutions to protect cyclists on faster streets. The cheapest option that you'll often see are called bollards, which are those little posts that you may see along a bike lane. These help visually narrow the road for drivers so that they're less likely to drift into the bike lane. When cities are willing to spend a bit more money, then they sometimes combine bollards with a cement curb in order to provide more physical protection. Weirdly enough, however, cars are also very dangerous when they're not moving at all. And no, I'm not talking about that time that I crashed my bike into a parked car after having too many sodas. I'm talking about when we use roads for parallel parking. See, this results in us having a road which goes 40 miles per hour or so, but we can't properly protect a bike lane because cars need to access the side of the road for parking. Luckily, city planners have a solution for this. They flip the parked cars with the bike lane and then put either a cement curb or some planters for trees in place, which helps mark the available parking. And honestly, if your neighbor isn't willing to sacrifice their $20,000 car in order to protect your life, then I mean, can you really say they ever cared about you? Oh, hey, anyone who's willing to use their car to protect cyclists, show me. Hit the like button. And then finally, there's what we all normally think of when we think of bike infrastructure: bike paths. These obviously do a fantastic job of protecting cyclists because they completely separate bike traffic from cars. But we can't fall into the trap of assuming that bike paths are always the best solution. Space restrictions might cause us to need to use sharrows or bike lanes, and people can, of course, always just build bad bike paths. For example, can you tell me why the Chandler bike path is amazing, but the La Conchita bike path is garbage? Of course you can't, because it's not even in the picture. I'm talking about destination, which is the second part of good bike infrastructure. See, the Chandler bike path goes for several miles until it ends here at a metro stop for the Red Line. So, with a little bit of time, a cyclist can ride their bike a couple of miles and then access basically the whole city of LA. The La Conchita bike path is gorgeous, and riding it will help you discover the meaning of life. But then it ends here, in a parking lot. The infuriating thing is that this parking lot is within spitting distance of the cute little town of Carpinteria, where many shops would love nothing more than to sell you a smoothie. But in order to get there, your only option is to ride a quick stretch on the freeway, which obviously throws rule number 1 out the window faster than you can say, "Hey, how did little Timmy die again?" Cities that are doing a great job of incorporating destination into their bike infrastructure seem to be deciding on key points that cyclists want to access. This typically ends up being an area with the most offices, the area with the most shops, and the highest capacity metro stops. Then the cities build out from these locations with well-designed bike paths and protected bike lanes. Then they rework the streets that intersect with these paths and lanes in order to ensure that they help restrict car traffic to 20 miles per hour or less. This method of construction ensures that every new mile of bike infrastructure connects more people to key destinations in the safest manner possible. I know, I'm over here throwing around crazy statements like, "Let me actually go somewhere with my bike," and "Don't force me to drive my car just to be able to ride my bike." I don't know. I guess I had too many sodas before recording, so you're getting the raw version of me. If you're okay with that, then go ahead and hit subscribe so you can catch my other videos. The final part of good bike infrastructure is accommodations. After all, what's the use of a safe bike path to a train station if the train doesn't have room for your bike, so you can't bring it? And once you get off at your stop, you still have a couple of miles until your final destination. So all existing public transportation needs to be built with bicycle accommodations in mind. An easy way to do this is to have a robust bicycle renting and docking system, like what Chicago has. So it's easy for people to rent a bike, ride it to the metro stop where they leave it in the docking station, take the metro to their stop, and then grab a new bike and take that to a docking station near their final destination. Oh, and speaking of Chicago, they are a great city to bring up anytime people try to say that bike infrastructure doesn't work in cold regions. I was there last winter, and I was surprised how many people I saw commuting to work in frigid weather. Eventually, this gave me the courage to try it myself, so I grabbed a rental bike and headed over to the aquarium. And guess what? I didn't freeze to death. Is it good for going 10 miles? Of course not. But going for a quick mile or two between destinations, it's actually pretty amazing, because you end up getting out of the cold faster than if you had just walked. Even with a good rental system, it's important to remember that there will always be people who want to bring their own bike for various reasons. So we need to also have racks on buses, cubbies on buses which can store fold-in bikes, bike cars on trains which provide easy room to store lots of bikes, lockers and racks in key locations so that people can safely lock their bike up for a long time, and just a general shift in our society's attitude so that it's expected that someone may show up with a bike and need a place to put it. You know, the same way that we build giant wastes of space, parking garages, all over the place just because we expect people to show up in cars. Yeah, let's take that same expectation and just bring it over to bicycles. Obviously, there's tons of ways to accomplish these 3 things, and many cities do it differently. So feel free to comment below with things that your city does which you especially like. Now, if you made it to the end of the video, go ahead and treat yourself to a soda as a reward. I'll be back next month with another video, but until then, get outside and go make a difference today.